Hello and welcome to The Print. Today we have Shailaja Paik with us, who is the first Dalit woman to get the MacArthur grant. Welcome to The Print, Shailaja. Shailaja, for you, my first question is, how is it to be a Dalit scholar in Trump administration in US right now? And has it changed in any way?
Okay. First, I just wanted to add something to the way you introduced me. I think it's very, very important. I'm also the first Indian woman who has lived in India and started her educational journey in India and then continued it in England and the US and then gone on to be nominated as a MacArthur Fellow. So this is very important, and especially for the humanities. All right. So to be a Dalit scholar in the Trump administration, so a lot of changes have taken place at the institutional level. But at the same time, there are some institutions who have stood up to the challenge, as we know of some examples in the US. And as a scholar who belongs to the Dalit community and the ways that I have tried to continue my work, I have to say that I have been able to manage and shape, the work that I want to do, and also the work in the present as well as in the near future. So with that said, there are also some ways in which, for example, the use of certain words was not has not been allowed. So we are just thinking about how we can, you know, continue to do the work that I am doing by getting the kind of support and ways in which I can collaborate and partner with other scholars. So how to keep it going. So it has been slightly challenging, but we are also saying how we can work with the limited opportunities that we have and continue to do the work.
Shailja, my next question to you, you have written Vulgarity of Caste, where you discuss that how women, Dalit women, are treated not as they are objectified, but as well as they are looked at as an object of disgust. Uh, what all examples have you cited in your book? What all fieldwork and what all experience did you gather during this?
A lot. That is why I would like the audience and the listeners, viewers, to read the book, because it provides details as to how the mechanism of caste, the caste system, and the reproduction of caste has made certain communities, especially Dalits and women inside these communities who are Dalit of Dalits, how the society has depicted them as vulgar, as women who are enticing men, women with loose morality. These are the words that have been used in the literature, as well as during my fieldwork, I also found as to how men who were hosts of a program or were in this troupe that was led by a Dalit woman tamasha performer, saying things that look how she's dancing, that is all vulgar, and why does she have to do this? She can sell vegetables and she can work as a maid. No, she need not dance. So this morality, the shaping of this kind of a particular clean, respectful woman, this is done by both touchable and Dalit men, without taking into consideration as to why does what is the kind of struggle that this woman has to undergo in order to dance on the tamasha stage. So they're not understanding that this is performance in the tamasha is a mode of survival for the woman as well as for her entire family, generations of her family, and not paying attention to how these women have to undergo a lot of multiple oppressions and compounded oppression in terms of social, ideological, in order to do this. So this is what I found in my fieldwork. Also the kind of hardships that tamasha people and especially tamasha women underwent in order to work in this tamasha, which is, as I have written in my book, it becomes work, it is play, it is amusement, it is exploitation, and it is also violence. But still, because it is also a lucrative business for these women, and hence they have continued to do this. And this is, tamasha exploits them, but women are also exploiting tamasha. This is the way in which they are implicated in these
Can we call it a
regimes
double
of
whammy?
power. Yes, yeah, and they are not able to. They are constantly caught in these webs of oppression.
From taking, I want to take apart from your answer where you discuss that how this, where you tell that how these women, Dalit women, are also exploited by Dalit men. So, does your book is also prevalent in the among Dalits?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, let me give you an example. So in this performance of tamasha, it was women who were doing the singing and the dancing, whereas men attended to the playing the music or building tents, you know singing, making working on the lyrics and so on. So we clearly see a gendered division, and on the one hand, they were dependent on women for their survival, but they also oppressed women.
Another question from the perspective of a woman. Did you also find out in your while you're on your field survey, and did the aesthetics, like there were there any expected standard physical aesthetics of a woman, Dalit woman, required to be a part of tamasha? Were they desired more where if they were looking like in a particular, like, were they desired more if they were thin or like fair, or were there kind of any expectation from a Dalit woman if she was a part of tamasha?
I mean, definitely that is what, the fair complexion, the way it is valued so much in our society, how women. So, for example, let me give you an example. Paulabai Bhalerao, I talked about this chapter in my book where I have written the first history of Paulabai. Paulabai, I mean, all these writers who write about whatever words that they have used about Paulabai, and when they talk about her, she's always this fair beauty. One of the writers also wrote that she was so fair that when she ate pan, everybody knows what pan is, that you could see that her throat turned red. I mean, that kind of a translucent skin. So, so that would be very much valued
She
in
would be
Tamash.
given more
Yes.
value by, okay.
Yes, compared to a dark
Skin,
skinned
yeah,
woman.
okay.
And the artists are always, putting makeup and a lot of powder and so on to look fairer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question, in your book, you have also critiqued Ambedkar somewhere. Uh, do you think his opinion does not incline with the modern feminist Dalit women?
So I have to explain here, and this is very, very important when we understand both Dalit studies, women's movement in India, feminist studies, and yes, the burgeoning field of Ambedkar studies today. Ambedkar did watch Tamasha, there is evidence. What Ambedkar wanted to end was the exploitation of women. I have extended Ambedkar's theoretical thinking on caste and endogamy, and I have also critiqued him in terms of how he created two kinds of women: a moral woman as well as opposite to as opposed to an immoral woman. The Tamasha woman, the Joktini, uh, are looked upon as dishonorable because they were threatening Dalit radicalism. And on the other hand, a Dalit woman toiling away in the factories, uh, she becomes the respectful Dalit woman. That is what he wanted to underline. But we need to understand that this is, on the surface, it may seem a patriarchal move, but this is we need to understand the deeper politics of how Dalits as a community were depicted as docile, animal-like, ignorant. So what Ambedkar was doing is basically to erase these depictions of Dalit that considered them animal-like and childlike. And and while trying to do this cleansing or disciplining, this morality of women, that was a complex pressure that he faced. But the overall intention of, uplifting the community and raising the status of the community in the eyes of the larger society and especially the higher caste. These were some of the things that he did. So instead of looking only on, superficially and calling it a patriarchal move the is not the way to look at this. We need to look a little deeper as to why Dalits were denigrated, exploited, extracted by the mechanism of caste. Why is it that we find that prostitutes are disproportionately from the Dalit community? And then you will understand what Ambedkar was trying to do. So it's a deeper question. So I want the readers to understand I'm not just criticizing and critiquing Ambedkar, but I've also written and analyzed how we need to think deeply about this move. It is not merely a patriarchal move. This move was also important to regain Dalit Manuski, as I said, Dalit personhood, and to uplift the community in their own eyes and the eyes of the society.
Shailaja, my next question to you, it's very modern. They're coming out of their door, like these closed doors, and uh, they are on social media doing whatever they want. Okay, do you also kind of can we put the tamasha and this, like women coming out, can we put them in the same context?
You mean women coming out
In the sense
as
as like I wish to do this on social media, I want to wear this type of clothes and want to perform on social media in front of like crores of audience, and tamasha where women also did something for upper caste. I'm it might be little different, but do you think
it is certainly very different. The hereditary tamasha dancers I am writing about, I mean, like for example, Mangalatai Bansode, 5 generations of her family have been in the practice of tamasha. This was caste slavery. Talking about a feudal caste servitude position where women were coerced, the entire families were coerced. This is the feudalism, how it operated. People's houses were burnt, people's fields were put on fire, people, these women were, forced, they were just picked up from their homes or even like from the tamasha tent. That is completely different, even, than coming out. So let's not put
let's
them
not
in the
equate,
same,
yeah.
no.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Shailja, my last question to you, is Dalit feminism any different from black feminism?
Definitely. I mean, there are parallels, there are commonalities, but at the same time, there are many differences, of social locations, of cultures, of contexts. Uh, so, what I would like to underline is that, and I've done this in my writing, and this is important in order for us to understand the parallels of oppression and the ways women from these communities have resisted and how they have challenged both public patriarchy and private patriarchy, and how they have been resilient. So, uh, putting them together really opens up the opportunity for us to understand feminism emerging from the communities which have been marginalized.
Um, if you can, what will be your next book on?
I am working on a number of projects right now. I'm co editing a book on caste, race, and indigeneity in and beyond South Asia. I'm also co editing a book which is the Ambedkar Companion to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And I have a number of projects in the pipeline. So I want to continue working on Ambedkari Jalse, and I had a few chapters that came before before the Vulgarity of Caste. So I want to work on those too. And this is a good time to also share with you that I am the founding executive director of a research center which is called the Institute for Just Futures. It is inspired by the visions of Dr. Ambedkar and Dr. Martin Luther King's uh, ideas and visions for social transformation. So I'll try and work on projects that were in the pipeline, and let me see what I can shape with these, working on our social, economic, ideological, political, complexities.
Thank you, Shailaja. Thank you so much for speaking to The Print.